Okay, how can you be 10 to 30% richer instantly? Most Americans can factor this in to their budget right now and be 10 to 30% richer. God actually gave me this. God told me this revelation. He told me how to be 10 to 30% richer for most Americans, and I'm going to share it with you. This is probably the simplest thing that anybody could do. And so if you're a child of God, you definitely want to do this. If not, it will still work for you. So, what is this? Stop paying tithes. Stop paying your tithes, and then you'll be 10 to 30% richer. I am living proof that tithes don't work. I was in church, read scriptures about the widow paying her mite and gave all my money away. Well, what happened? My electricity got shut off. So yeah, I didn't have any money, but I gave it all away. Why? Because I was a good tithe payer. So stop paying your tithes and you'll be 10 to 30% richer, depending on how righteous you were before. No, we have more money now than what we did before. But in all seriousness, do you see what they do with the Bible here? Go back and actually look up where they get tithes from and see how ridiculous this is. The Levites needed tithes. They needed 10% from the other tribes in Israel because they didn't have an inheritance in the land. That's why they got 10%. They were the priesthood, but they got 10% because they didn't have any other inheritance. So how were they supposed to make their living? This is how. And then, so they use one verse that says, bring the tithes into the storehouse, correct? Bring the tithes into the storehouse, and your barns will be overflowing, or things like that, or 10%, your barns will be overflowing. Just a bunch of different stuff. They use it out of Proverbs, and they use it out of, I think, Malachi. Well, there is no storehouse now. God used to dwell in a temple made with hands, and there was an Ark of the Covenant in there that had power, because men were wicked, but that ark was holy. The 10 Commandments were holy, but men were wicked. The law was holy, but men were wicked. So nobody was saved. Why? Because nobody could keep the law. If anybody could have kept the law, they would have been saved. Do you understand? And all this time, nobody could keep it. So there was one temple and people brought the tithes to the storehouse. There was one temple. Jesus died and fulfilled the law. He's the only one this is what fulfilled the law. If anybody else would have done it, they would have fulfilled the law. But we saw that nobody else could do this. So Jesus came born of a virgin so that he could do this. And whenever he fulfilled that law, you see it, the law always, anytime the law killed somebody, the law was in the right. Because the law was righteous, but people were unrighteous. But whenever the law killed a righteous man, then the law is worthless. Because if the law can't keep a holy person safe, then what good is the law, right? So whenever Jesus fulfilled this law, the veil in the temple that was in the temple of God tore in half, and everybody could see into the holy place. That's blasphemy to the Jews. And then the temple was torn down after Jesus and has not been rebuilt for 2,000 years. For 2,000 years this temple hasn't been rebuilt. Stop paying your tithes. The church is a $66 billion industry every year in America alone. And I'm not talking about electric bills and stuff like that. The church is a $66 billion industry. Some of these preachers are making millions of dollars and working 3 hours a week. Why don't you go do that? Instead of paying tithes, why don't you go buy a $5 book and go rent a building for $500 a month and become a millionaire. Become a slick talker. You see, if they took the money that all these churches, what do? They pay electric bills so that they can use a church for 3 hours a week. They pay land taxes so they can use a building for 3 hours a week. They take property from what could provide for other people so that they can use it 3 to 8 hours a week. It was ridiculous. So stop paying your tithes, stop funding these people, and you will be 10 to 30% richer. One easy step. Is that not the best step you've ever heard? Nothing. You don't have to do any sit-ups. You don't have to subscribe to anything. You don't have to send me any money for telling you this simple hint. This is strictly from God, and it's a gift to all of you. Stop paying your tithes. It's very simple. The storehouse is not there anymore. Everybody's equal in God. So stop paying your tithes. If you took the money from those churches, you ever see those pictures of like the bums sleeping out in the trash can at a church? At like the $3 million churches. There's even, I think, a $1 billion church in America too. It sits like, oh man, it's crazy. I forget, 450,000 people or something. I mean, it's insane. So take all the money, the 66 billion, and feed the whole world. You could pretty much feed the whole starving world just by the church revenue in America. So you want to be 10 to 30% richer? There you go. I've got more money now than ever. Whenever you are paying tithes, Satan will give you a little bit, but he'll never set you free. He'll never actually give you enough, unless you're a good worker for him. But that's a different story. Okay, so there's my money tip. Don't listen to the Bible. You see how they use it. They use the Bible for whatever they want. That's the other thing I wanted to say. They can make the Bible say whatever they want. Oh man. The Bible's the mark of the beast. Stop paying tithes. Don't give to the beast system.